How do we do the like? Can I curse? Can I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Because I
Alrighty.
just no, it's not like good. I want to curse. It's just
You
so-
know us.
Yes.
Yeah, we're allowed. Yeah.
Guests are not allowed to curse.
Welcome to Dreadful Digest, where we look at your favorite horror novels and rip apart their adaptations. I'm one of your hosts, Tessa Nelson.
I'm Sam.
And today we have a special guest. This has been a long time coming. Thank you so much for joining us, Luis. Thank you.
No, thank you for having me. Like I'm excited.
Yeah.
It feels very good. Like good old times. You know, we
Yeah.
we're just talking
Yeah.
about 2 years and a half ago. You know, in the Fandango building.
But it's still like, it feels like we can just like jump into conversation and like no time has passed at all. So
Yeah.
that's what's special about it. But yeah, we've been talking to you about doing these episodes since before we even started releasing episodes. Like it has been a long time coming.
But we can never get you because you're so booked and busy.
He is a booked and busy director. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, my name is Luis Quijano. I'm a director. I'm a writer, producer. I was born in Mexico. I've been here in LA for almost 10 years, which is crazy.
Oh, wow.
Whenever people tell me, how long have you been in LA? I always think like 5 years, 4 years. And it's turning 10 years this September, which is
Wow.
which is crazy. And yeah, I'm very happy to be here. It's been a crazy journey. But yeah, like I usually do horror. I love horror. I love talking about horror, making horror, watching horror. And yeah, you know, like I feel like coming from Mexico, most of my projects have been in Spanish or Spanish and English. I love culture. I love languages. I recently did a short film, half in Portuguese, half in English.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, you know, like I feel like the horror has so many ways to tell stories. You know, we can go big, we can go small, we can go
Crazy
like
slasher or
crazy
family
slasher,
drama.
family
Yeah.
drama. Yeah, it's all these subgenres, and I love exploring all of those. For my latest projects, I've done a monster movie called Caminante, La Leyenda de White Chivo. That was a short film. Then I did a VEM, a body horror, then Caviar Star, a ghost possession, and then just recently one called Me Gusta Más Crudo in Mexico City. It's a cannibal romance, ultra gore. You know, it's the best thing about horror is how much we can explore and how many subgenres there are, and there's horror for everyone. Whoever likes this elevated horror or possession horror or family dramas, young adult horror. You know, there's so many kinds of horror that I just love the exploration of all of those. So I'm very happy to be talking about it, and especially about The Ring, which is a movie that's
one of your favorites.
It's one of my
right?
favorite movies. It was, to my knowledge, to my memory, I think it's the first horror movie that I saw from beginning to end.
Oh, wow.
Like literally, like I saw it with my mom, the full movie. I had seen clips of other films. I remember seeing clips of Sleepy Hollow, clips of Bride of Chucky, clips of Jaws, but no, just clips when they were playing on TV or online. But then I just sat down to watch The Ring with my mom, and I just fell in love with it. And
This
of course,
is a
I
movie,
didn't.
like you have to pay attention to. Like
Yes.
it's pretty like complicated, maybe for a kid, right?
Yeah, there's so
but
much
it
stuff
wasn't
that-
complicated for you.
No, it was, and there's so much stuff that I didn't understand. The movie came out in 2003, right?
2002.
2002. So I was 7 years, 8 years when I saw it. And of course, I didn't understand half of it, but just the images, just the images and the look. And it's like, I remember watching a lot of movies when I was a kid. But this is one that whenever someone tells me what's your earliest memories of watching movies, I always think of The Ring.
That's
And I
cool.
always think of sharing this experience with my mom, who also loves horror. That I give a lot of this love for horror. I just give it to my mom because she also loves it. There's so many movies that I saw for the first time because she allowed me to, and because I was watching it with her.
For me, it was my dad. Like, yeah, it's pretty fun. It's like parents kind of introducing you to these different movies and stuff.
Yeah, and that's the best thing. Like, because at the end of the day, watching movies or movies in general, it's about the experience of watching them and with someone especially. So there's so many movies that almost every movie, like whenever I think of a movie, I think of the person that I saw it with, if I watch it with someone.
Sweet.
And for me, those are the special moments of sharing movies. You know, the movie watching, movie making. So yeah, The Ring is always gonna be special to me.
Awesome. Do you have a history with The Ring, Sam?
Girl, no. I finished the book this morning and I watched both adaptations today.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
When did you have time for that?
This morning. I woke up at like 7.
You're insane.
Well, also, to our listeners, if you're like, I want to read The Ring, which you do, free audiobook on YouTube.
That
Knock it
guy,
out.
I tried
Yep.
listening to his audiobook. He was
I
a
don't
little,
know,
too,
1.5
little too
speed.
slow. Yeah.
1.5 speed was
Oh,
about
yeah.
perfect. But also, it's also on Internet Archive, the actual text.
So you read the book this morning and you watched both
I
movies this
started the book on Thursday.
morning? Okay.
Oh my god, dude.
I was looking for the novel. I had to go to the library.
Yeah,
my
it
first
was-
time renting
You were probably
taking
the
a book
person
from
who
the
took
library.
the book that I
Oh,
went.
look at you.
Because I went to multiple branches of the LA Public Library, and for some reason,
You're the
everybody
one
was
who
reading
took
the
it.
Ring. so I went on Internet Archive and I used that guy. Shout out to that guy. I don't know what his channel name is, but I'm also
Shout
not
out to
gonna.
that
I'm not
guy.
a snitch. So just look up Ring audiobook and you'll find it.
Yeah. And he
But-
did Spiral too.
I just went online. I was like, okay, they have it. Hold. They have it. Hold. They have it. Hold. They have it. Hold. And I ended up taking
You
the Chinatown
definitely-
one. But now it's in North Hollywood. So
I literally looked
one
at it this
copy.
morning and I saw that it was North. Oh my god, that's so
yeah,
funny.
that's mine.
Us
See, they should
fighting
make
for
more-
the copy for the Ring.
They should make more copies of it so more people can read it.
All right, pipe down. Enough out of you on that.
I'm just saying it would make sense.
They
With
should
the
make more
context
copies
of the
it.
book and the movie.
True.
No, they should. No, that's true because I think it's a joke that I did put the hold on all of them, but I think there's only 3 copies in all of LA,
I think that's true.
which is crazy,
Crazy.
and 2
Yeah.
were on hold, and then there was the Chinatown one that I took.
Yeah. That sounds about right. And all the audiobooks like on Libby were like taken. It wasn't on Hoopla, my fave.
Yeah, shout out to Hoopla.
Who shout
Amazing.
out to Hoopla. And on Libby, like everybody had it checked out. Again, why is everybody listening to Ring right now? You guys love
It's in
our
the
content.
zeitgeist, I guess. Everybody that's listening to it is going to also listen to this.
True. So true. You should. Tell your friends. Make a copy. Tell your friends. Yeah, that's my history with Ring.
Awesome. I had heard of The Ring because of Scary Movie. That was my
Oh.
first introduction with The Ring. Same with Scream. I knew the concept of both of those movies because of Scary Movie.
Really?
Yeah. It wasn't until I was in high school when I watched both
That's
The
crazy.
Ring and Scream. So, yeah, my first introduction was with Anna Faris as the lead.
Cindy.
And then I watched it in high school. I wasn't really paying attention to it much because I was watching with friends, and it's a movie where you literally have to pay attention. Like you can't just be talking.
And you mean the American one, right?
the American version. And I didn't care for it the first time I watched it,
Oh, drama.
but then rewatching it for this, I was like, okay, I raised it a few more stars. I liked it a lot more. So,
Few more stars. Out of how many?
dude. I think, because when I first got Letterboxd, I was going through old movies I had watched, and I remember not liking this movie, and so I rated it 2 stars.
Oh,
Wow.
that's crazy.
Wow.
And then now I rated it 4, so
Okay, good for you.
Good.
boosted it
Correcting the
up.
record.
You know what's crazy with The Ring also is like I feel like it's a very accessible movie and it's a movie that many people like. So I was like, as I was getting older, I was like, okay, so you wanna watch a horror movie? Yes, let's watch The Ring. And a lot of my friends or family were like, I don't know, it looks kind of scary. I'm like, let's watch Scary Movie then. Scary Movie 3. Let's do a little bit. And I have a cousin. She loves horror movies, but she gets very, very afraid of them. She gets very scared. So we watched Scary Movie so many times because she wanted to see The Ring, but she didn't feel like she was ready for it. So she's like, okay, no, let's keep watching Scary Movie 3 for now.
Yeah.
And then we ended up watching The Ring and she loved it.
That's so funny.
But yeah, and I love Scary Movie, but I just don't like how there's so many people that think of Scary Movie before thinking of the actual horror
my
movies that
bad.
inspired.
Yeah.
But no, it's good. Like it does
Like, I
expand.
know what you did last summer is the same thing.
Yeah, no, but it's cool how it does make the movies known, you know, and there's so many people that they don't want to watch the horror movies. So that's like their first introduction, and then later on they will be like, okay, yeah, I'm ready. I want to watch it, or they get interested. There's also so many movies that I didn't know about that I knew about when I was watching scary movie. You know, War of the Worlds was one.
Oh yeah.
In the fourth one, The Grudge also in the fourth one. I hadn't seen The Grudge, and that was my first thing. You know, the teriyaki and
Yeah.
start.
She's like, actually, I can't say that. I can't say that, but it's
So stupid.
yeah.
But yeah, you know, it's cool. Like I don't like it when so many people are like, yeah, but scary movie. Like, yeah, but the horror movie. But it's cool. It's cool, and I'm excited that they're gonna make a new scary movie. I hope it's as good as the first ones.
Sidetrack. Have you seen The Grudge?
I have seen The American Grudge.
Okay.
With Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Okay, because that's gonna come into play later. So just keep
Yeah.
that in mind. Yeah. So anyone want to start off with their non-spoiler review? You can talk about the book or the movie, whatever you feel like. We're gonna be talking about. To clarify, we're going to be talking about the 1998 Japanese version. There are a lot of versions of The Ring, but that's the one we're focusing on this episode. But next episode in part 2, we're going to be looking at the American version. Anyone want to go? Or should I go? I don't know.
You can go. Why don't you kick it off?
I don't know what to say. This is the first time I don't know what to say.
I know.
Because, I mean, we joked about this earlier before recording, but I'm like so ringed out. Like it all kind of blurs in my head a little bit,
Especially when it comes to we're talking about the movie, but the book, I feel like I can't think of a joke I can make about the book. I think I can joke about the movie. I can't think of a joke.
What's your joke for the movie?
Well, it's forming.
Okay, you're getting
It's a work
there.
in progress.
You're getting there.
I don't know, something about chainmail. It's not even a joke because they say that in the movie. They talk about. Did you ever get those emails?
What?
The emails?
Yeah, the chainmail.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Or like the texts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my joke. That's my non-spoiler review.
Nice. That's a
Yeah.
real knee slapper.
Okay. Let's hear yours, shall we?
I don't have a joke. I would say, I know we're talking about the Japanese version, but I think if you want scares, this probably is not the movie for you. And it's more of like a procedural kind of vibe. They're investigating.
It is a murder mystery.
Yeah.
And if you take away sorry, I'm on my soapbox right now. If you take away this is non-spoiler section.
Yes.
Whatever. If you take away the psychic abilities, the movie completely still functions exactly the same. Or wait, maybe it doesn't. The book does. The movie doesn't. The book, you can take away all the psychic stuff. Mm-hmm. Oh no, the movie definitely doesn't because of
you need the
which
psychic
by
abilities.
the way, we'll talk about that later. But the book is just a straight murder mystery with like a little bit of psychic.
Mm-hmm. There's a little bit of spooky supernatural stuff maybe going on here.
Also, by the way, thoughtography or whatever it's called, real.
What?
Look it up.
What do you
look up thoughtography?
Where she imprints on the.
Yeah, look it up. Real thing. There's a Wikipedia page.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Because when I read that, I was like, "What? What are you talking about?"
It seems like a real concept, maybe,
but it's impossible. Chat, drop in the comments if you can do thoughtography.
Let us know. I don't know if I would revisit the book anytime soon. I'm interested in maybe picking up the sequels. He has written a lot of sequels. Yeah, I would probably revisit the American version before revisiting this film, and I will leave it at that.
Wow.
Sorry. Are you offended by that?
Another episode where we disagree, but no, I'm not offended.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it's so hard to give a review because I feel like both the book and the novel and the film, they have a lot of similarities, you know. They're very similar in some ways. But it just felt like when I was reading it, I had seen the Japanese movie I think twice before reading the novel. Like I don't know, the last time that I saw the film was maybe 4 years ago. It felt like I was watching something completely new.
Because you had the context of the book this time around.
Yeah, and I just felt like it's not, as you said, you know, it's not a book for the scares. And if you take out that psychic elements, the powers, it's a murder mystery. It's a procedural drama. So I was a bit confused at times as how it was going because I'm so familiar with the films. But
No horses in this one.
but I did enjoy a lot of what kind of like the twists and turns and what is different. So I wouldn't revisit the book again, but I do say if you haven't read the book and you like the films, it's very, very worth reading at least once. Just as the experience and just to see how I'm a filmmaker. I'm very visual, so for me, it's just a completely different way of telling the story, and that's why I enjoyed it. Even though it costed me a little bit to kind of get into it, especially in the beginning, and I was a lot of throughout the read, I was comparing until I said, no, stop comparing. It's something else, and it's something that came out 8 years before the film, 7 years before the film, and it's for a completely different audience. Of course, there's gonna be some liberties in the film because not everything. There's a lot of stuff. I think reading the book, I felt a lot of that stuff wouldn't make a very accessible and commercial movie. And then I think Hideo Nakata's
I can
work
definitely see that.
did bring that visual element and that movie magic to something that maybe was a little bit limiting and hard to tell in a movie, I feel like. But yeah, worth watching the movie, worth reading the book if you like the films. I feel like if you're not really into the films, I don't know if it's the book for you, honestly.
Yeah. I think the book definitely helped put in a lot of context for me, like how the powers work and like how the videotape was made. Like I think it helped me make more sense of that than probably just watching the movies did. So I will give it credit for that. I think it helped me kind of rationalize things in my head a little bit on how this mystery unfolded. So perfect. Should we dive into the movie synopsis? So during a sleepover, high schoolers Tomoko and Masami discuss an urban legend about a videotape that curses its viewers to die in 7 days. Tomoko confesses that she and her friends watched it and received a creepy phone call afterwards. That night, Tomoko witnesses the TV turn on by itself and is killed by an unseen presence. Raiko Asakawa is Tomoko's aunt, and she's also a journalist who just happens to be investigating this urban legend. She attends the funeral of her niece and learns that 3 of Tomoko's friends also watched the tape and died at the same time. Her investigation leads her to a cabin where Raiko finds an unmarked videotape. When watching it, it contains brief, seemingly unrelated scenes and ends with a shot of a well. Convinced she has been cursed, Raiko takes the tape and enlists the help of her psychic ex-husband, Yuhi Takayama. Examining a copy of the tape that Raiko made, the pair find a cryptic message spoken in Oshima dialect and prepare to go to Oshima Island. Before departing, Raiko catches Yoichi, her son, watching the tape. Adds to the tension. In Oshima, Raiko and Yuhi learn about Shizuku Yamamura. Shizuko gained notoriety for her psychic ability and had an affair with her doctor, Dr. Ikuma. Raiko and Yuhi learn through a vision that Shizuko had a young daughter named Sadako. After failing to track down Sadako, Raiko realizes that Yuhi never received a phone call after watching the tape like she did in the cabin, which leads them to rush back to the cabin. Raiko and Yuhi find a sealed well under the cabin. Through another vision, they learn that Dr. Ikuma trapped Sadako inside the well, essentially killing her.
Which, by the way, in the movie, it's a crazy way. It was bonk.
Yeah.
The sound effect is crazy.
I liked...
Yeah. Like, I watched it with Izzy, my roommate Izzy, shout out Izzy, and she burst out laughing.
No.
I liked the look of the visions they get.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
I think
but that particular moment, it was like...
It does give, like old black and white, like Japanese style films. I think that was kind of cool stylistically. But yeah, that was a silly moment for sure.
It's not even it's just the sound effect.
The
It's
sound
just
effect?
that
Okay.
like,
Damn.
Yeah.
So R.I.P. Sadako. They conclude that Sadako remained alive while she was in the well and that the curse was born when a videotape recorded the rage she had projected. They find Sadako's remains and Raiko survives, leading them to believe that this curse is broken. But is it? The next day, Yuhi's TV turns on by itself. Sadako's vengeful spirit staggers out of the TV, advancing towards Yuhi and killing him. Guided by an apparition, Reiko realizes she has unwittingly found how to survive the curse. You have to copy the tape and show it to someone else within 7 days. Desperate to save her child, Reiko drives to her father's home to show him the tape. And that is the plot of Ring 1998.
Here's a question. Wouldn't Yoichi be the one who needs to show his father the tape?
Yes, and I think they address that in the American version.
Yeah, they
where
do.
They literally have
They
Aiden
literally
make
have
it.
Aiden make it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the book also, Asakawa, when he calls his wife, is like, we're going to show it to your parents.
Yeah.
Like we are.
She doesn't know why, but that's what he
Right.
tells her. A little bit about the book. It was published in 1991. It's written by Koji Suzuki. Set in modern-day Japan, Ring was a sensation, inspiring countless adaptations, including radio dramas, made-for-TV movies, stage plays, dance troupes, and manga. There are even 2 sequels to this book, Spiral and Loop, but 6 books in the series overall.
Wait, how did it inspire dance troops?
Similar
You'd
to
have
the
to
fever
ask.
strips,
You'd have
the
to ask
trope-
Sibia.
Sibia.
Shout out Sibia who helped
Sibia,
me with
drop
the
his
research.
comments.
We love you, Sibia. But okay, no, that's something that I definitely have to look out for.
I want to see a ring dance
The look-
troupe.
yeah,
I wanna
have
see
to,
it
I have
right
to,
now.
yeah,
Cirque
no,
du
let's watch it.
Soleil,
Like,
Their flashes flying from her hair like Rapunzel.
That's what we should put on the Patreon. We should do react stuff. Where we-
Yes, that'd be so fun. I do want to react to. I was gonna bring it up later, but that Sadako 2019 film where you said it's digital, like she comes out digitally.
yeah, in Rings, there's like the second American sequel.
Oh,
in Rings,
yeah,
she goes
okay.
digital. I mean, also in the in Sadako, 2019, also directed by Hideo Nakata, who did the Ring film, the original Japanese one. She goes digital,
Yeah.
which makes sense. Modern,
New era.
Yeah, new era, but
Gotta scare people somehow.
but it is strange.
I want to watch it so bad. But yeah, so Spiral and Loop are directly take place after this movie. But there's 6 books in the series and they follow different characters. I think one follows Maid Tanaka.
Yeah, Spiral.
Okay.
Spiral follows Mai,
okay.
who is Ryuji's assistant, and it's hinted, right, that she's kind of also her lover.
I think she wanted
lover.
to be, but they never. Yeah, he never. Did anything with her.
we're getting into the differences here, but in the book they explicitly explain their relationship, and in the movie, because Asakawa is a woman and Ryuji's ex-lover, I feel like they pull back on Mei a lot.
And she ends up being the protagonist of the sequel.
Yeah. Okay. I haven't.
So-
I haven't seen any of the
Kind of makes
sequels.
sense given the book, because in the book she's involved. When Ryuji calls her.
Yeah, and it would make sense. I'm guessing she's trying to figure out what happened to him. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she's looking for Reiko, and Yoichi.
What? Oh.
Yeah, so it ties on. We can talk about it more later, but it does. So basically, the second movie, the one that Hideo Nakata also directed, so it follows Mai, who's looking for answers about what happened to Ryuji and where are Reiko and Yoichi, if they're alive, and what happens, and then she finds them, and then a lot of crazy stuff happens.
That makes sense.
But the protagonist of that film is Mai, and I'm not sure, but that's for Ring 2. I'm not sure about the books. It's crazy because basically the same year that Ring came out, a Spiral movie came out.
Yeah.
Same year, but no one paid attention to Spiral, which is the movie adaptation of the sequel novel.
Yeah.
But no one paid attention to that movie, so the producers just said, "Okay, that movie doesn't exist. Let's hire Hideo again, and let's have him make a sequel to Ring," which I think came out a year after the film, after Ring. They made it so fast.
Oh wow.
But that one is the official sequel, but both of them have Mai as a prominent character or protagonist. But it's 2 different plot lines, completely different.
And I think there's a Spiral or a sequel at least. That's a TV series too. There's
Wow.
Yeah, and
There's so much.
There's so much stuff, and I read that there's a TV movie also for Ring. that came out, I think, 1995.
There's a movie that came
But
out, before this one. That's like pretty much follows the book to a T. But yeah, that one apparently was kind of low budget, not well renowned.
That'd be interesting to see.
It's a very
There's a lot of
messy-
content we can
Yeah,
cover.
and it's a very messy franchise. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of retcons. There's a lot of this is an adaptation of this, but a sequel to that. And this is ignore this one. Just pay attention to that one. Like, so I did see 1, 2, 3, 4 of the Japanese movies, and they all kind of follow different things. There's one that follows the book. There's one that follows the novel. There's one that takes something from Loop, something from Spiral, something from Ring. You're like,
Oh my god. Yeah.
but it's cool, and that says a lot about the franchise.
Yeah.
And the material in general.
I mean, we have plenty of those with, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is convoluted. Friday the 13th is convoluted. Like, yeah. Chucky, though.
Chucky, just one timeline.
Just one timeline. That's all we need.
Yeah, I mean, there's a second one with the Child's Play.
Oh yeah, we
remake,
don't talk about that.
Yeah, that one. Wait, which one? No, yeah, no.
Speaking
There's
of
only
Mark
one. There's
Hamill.
only one. There's only one. Which one? No, Mark Hamill never did one.
No, he wasn't involved. So author Koji Suzuki is mostly known for horror outside of Japan, but in his home country, he wrote a lot about parenting. He was a stay-at-home dad.
What?
Yeah. This is really interesting. And he took care of his kid while his wife worked as a teacher, which one of the things I asked Sibia for help with was like looking up kind of the history and the culture of Japan, at least around that time, to give a little bit of context. Being a stay-at-home dad is unusual in today's Japan, but he believes that fathers should take a more active role in parenting, and this reflected in his work. Like I can think of Asakawa, he is always busy with work. He only really
Asakawa sucks. we better talk about that.
Yeah, for sure. So I was like, oh, that's kind of like reflected in this a little bit.
That does add a lot of context because I was like, are we supposed to hate Asakawa in the book?
I definitely don't like, his choice of friends.
Well, I also and then I also feel like when we first meet him, he's like, ugh, my wife gets so mad at me when I don't take care of our child on my day off. And it's like,
He's your
child. Your child. Yeah. And like, what? She's doing it full time. Whatever.
Yeah.
Asakawa sucks.
Boo. Yeah.
Boo those fathers.
So in 2009, Koji wrote a short novel called Drop on rolls of toilet paper. The story takes up about 3 feet of paper, so it can be read in one sitting.
Wait, what?
He wrote a short story called Drop, a short novel on toilet paper.
Do you buy the toilet paper
to
read it?
I don't. I don't know. The company advertised it as Japan's scariest toilet paper.
You know how people have like I hope so. You know how people have like jokes for the John, shout out our Rosemary's Baby episode? Is it like that where it's a book? Or is it literally toilet paper that you buy?
I think no, it's not toilet paper.
That kind of sounded like it was toilet paper from the way that you
he
led
wrote
up to
it
that.
initially on toilet paper.
They should have sold it
As
toilet
toilet
paper.
I know. I'm
I
curious
used
to
to
look
read
more
a
into
little bit
this.
every time we pull a square. Yeah.
Oh no, you can wait. In Japan, a single roll is going for. Wait, is it written on toilet paper?
I think it's written on toilet paper. That's how it sounds.
It
Oh,
is
wow,
sold on
it
toilet
is.
paper.
That's amazing.
It's sold on toilet paper.
Crazy. Okay, I need this. I need this for the set.
It's a good gift, actually.
Yeah.
Wow.
A little bit of Japanese history for y'all. Ring reflects the political and social world of Japan at that time. After the events of World War II, there was a ramp up of industrialism in Japan and a culture of overworking to help the country's economy, kind of related to what I just said. Working fathers, called salarymen, dedicated their lives to their work and barely saw their children. Mothers were left to raise the children basically on their own.
Asakawa.
Yes. Over-industrialization led to a dangerous amount of pollution in the air and water, and by the 1990s, the bubble had burst. The stock market and land values plummeted. Jumping over to religion, Shinto religion, and I apologize if I am mispronouncing things. So Shinto religion is a major influence on Ring as well. While an evil spirit in Western culture is usually tied to a demon or Satan, in Japanese culture, ghost stories revolve around Onryo, a vengeful spirit. What makes a character like Sadako so terrifying is her insatiable wrath. And the dread of the film is realized when we see that the curse can't be lifted, only can be passed on.
I like Sadako.
Yeah, I love her.
I
so
think
much
she's
in the book.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love her. Yeah.
I got no notes.
Yeah, she's that girl. Like, she really like. I think the best thing about both the film and the book is how different the interpretation, more than the interpretation, like how she's portrayed. You know, like one is like a very tragic young woman who was just betrayed by everyone around her, and the other one is just like I mean, not just, but she's a vengeful ghost. You know, one is maybe way more complex than the other, but those are two Sadakos that work very, very well for the format that the story is being told.
Yeah.
You know, like a very tragic Sadako that with everything that we're gonna talk about what happens, how she dies, who she is, and all of that, her backstory, her powers, like it works very well for the book, but that Sadako I don't feel works very well for the film. So that's why I was saying like I feel like Hideo Nakata did a very, very good job, and I don't think he wrote it. He wrote the film, but he did a very good job directing the script. And they made those changes very well for the movie to work.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sadako is the heart of the ring. Like not even the chorus or the tape or Reiko or Rachel or Asakawa. Like it's Sadako, and that's why she became such an iconic character. And there's so many sequels, and there's a different Sadako with every film, and there's these crossovers, these spin-offs, and I think everyone knows they haven't seen The Ring. Maybe they have or have not seen the movies, but I feel like a lot of people know who she is. You know, you can show
Yeah,
her.
definitely.
You can show someone the
The
Sadako,
imagery.
her hair, her blue, gray skin, and her dress. You know, very, very wet.
yeah,
You know, her hair all over her face. They know she's from The Ring. Maybe they don't know her name,
Yeah.
Samara, Sadako, whatever, but you know she's from The Ring, and that's nice. That's great. You know, I feel like every horror movie needs that character or that icon that just transcends the material. You know, and so that's why I'm saying, you know, Sadako is that girl.
she is
Yeah,
that
she is that
girl.
girl.
Samara also, both.
Definitely.
Sure.
Moving on to the film, it was released in 1998, directed by Hideo Nakata. Ring was influential in popularizing Japanese's horror in the West. It became the highest grossing horror film in Japan, sparking a renaissance of horror films in the country and inspired franchises like The Grudge. It also spearheaded Hollywood's horror films transition from slashers into more atmospheric films in the 2000s, which then quickly changed to movies like Saw and Hostel and more like gory stuff. But for a brief period, there was stuff like this and The Grudge that kind of were popular in the West.
Shout out to Hostel. I love Hostel. Part 1 and
I'm
2.
not shouting that out.
I love Hostel.
Nakata has directed other Ring films, including Ring 2, The Ring 2, the American version, and most recently, Sadako 2019,
Wow.
which is the one I really want to watch.
I
And
watched it after I saw he came back. It's like after so many years, like what,
that's the
20
one he
years?
chose. It's
He chose
crazy.
to do Sadako. He chose to
Yeah.
come back to The Ring. So
Hey.
I watched it.
I
And
did
I
that
have
too.
I have opinions on it.
Okay. Yeah, it's part of the Sadako 3D film series. There was as we already talked about this, but there was a made-for-TV film that came out in 1995, and it follows the book more closely. It's more of a mystery, while Nakata's version has a little bit more horror elements. The first appearance of Sadako was filmed backwards and reversed for the film. The close-up of the eyeball was actually a different person. The actress refused to have her eyelashes removed, and they managed to get someone on the crew to do it.
Oh,
It was filmed upside down and flipped both vertically and horizontally for the film, giving Sadako an inhuman feel. That eye, like that moment, the eye, her fingernails, so creepy. I think that's the creepiest version
yeah,
I've seen.
I love. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the fingernails are so good,
Oh my god, you just
especially
feel
because
it.
that's it's a very logic thing. You know, like she tried to climb
Climb
up.
out. Yeah.
She climbed
exactly.
to climb out, and she lost her nails on the way.
Yeah.
And how they even give them like a medium close up of they're just dragging, and you see that they're all red. She doesn't have any nails. And Samara in The Ring, in the American version, she does have her nails, and I feel like that's a very, very key thing and a very, very scary thing to just have she tried to come out and she lost all her nails on the way. Yeah, I agree
good choice.
that from all the presentations of for all the portrayals of Sadako, the Ring movie, the original one, I think it's the scariest.
I agree. Yeah, I never found Samara particularly scary. I always thought, I mean, for me, The Grudge was always just the look of it was so much creepier to me. I never found Samara that scary, but yeah, definitely this version was like more in line with what I find creepy. Last thing here. Filming took 9 months for this movie, and it was filmed back to back with the sequel Spiral. As we said, the film was poorly received, so it was followed by Ring 2, which ignores the events of Spiral.
Wow,
And
a 9 month shoot between those. Wow.
Yeah. Oh no, this was the filming for this movie took 9 months.
They shot the Ring for 9 months. Wow.
Yeah.
How much? What was the budget
Yeah.
for the film? Like the most expensive movie in Japan's history. Wow, that's crazy. 9 months, because it feels like a very contained and
It does
indie
seem
There's
movie.
always
very
so many locations. Like,
yeah,
how much could they have been
condensed.
doing?
The budget was 1.5 million.
Okay.
Box office was 19.5 million. So definitely made their money back. Let's get into the main segment, shall we?
We shall.
Yes.
Right off the bat, the openings are a little bit different with Raiko and us. So let's just clarify something here with these main characters. Both have the last name Asakawa. For the purpose of this episode, our main character of the film we're gonna call Raiko. Main character of the book we're gonna call Asakawa. I think that will help make things a little bit easier.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, yeah. You could also say man Asakawa, woman Asakawa,
True.
because they made that giant change.
Yes, it's gender swapped for the film. Both journalists, but yeah.
Which I want to spend time talking about this.
Okay, let's get into it.
Because I personally, so in the book, the relationship between Ryuji and Asakawa is like they're friends from high school. And also, Ryuji's like an edgelord. I'm not going to get into all the reasons why right now.
I don't like the book at all.
He's a really interesting character that's like makes you just feel icky.
He's a scumbag.
That's like he's just a crazy character. I mean, there's moments where he's like making jokes, and I'm like glad he's there, and then I feel weird that I'm glad he's there
Yeah.
because he's. And then it all gets muddied at the end as well, which again I'm not going to talk about that yet. Okay. I just want to talk about the fact that they were besties from high school, and the reason Asakawa shows his friend the tape is because Ryuji's such an edgelord. He's like, this is the only person I know who's not afraid of death.
Yeah, he's down to watch it.
In
Stop for
the
anything.
movie, they're ex-lovers.
Yes.
Woman Asakawa and Ryuji are like ex-parents
He's the dad of Yoshi.
of Yoshi. And which I get it. Like we talked about this in the car on the way here. Like there's something about like changing the protagonist to be a woman about like giving her struggle. And like, I don't know, somebody told me once like good horror protagonists are always victims because like, then you watch them and you're like, oh, you want them to, fight back. But like I thought it was a predictable dynamic in both versions of the movies to have them be like lovers / ex-lovers. And that's the only reason I can think why they would gender bend it. Right?
Yeah, I something I noticed when watching this movie, and it bothered me a little bit, even though I kind of get it, is like this version of the character was like kind of on her last couple days was crying and like kind of losing.
Asakawa in the book though.
Yeah, he does.
He kind of sucks.
He does, like when he's going down in the well and he's like feeling claustrophobic and stuff. But I felt like this was more obvious, and she definitely needed to lean on Ryuhi more. And I didn't care for that much.
Yeah, I agree in that. And I feel like I do like the dynamic more in the movie than in the book because I do like Reiko and I do like Ryuhi. I don't like Ryuhi from the book.
Yeah.
And I don't like Asakawa from the book. Like it's just such a strange dynamic
I hate Asakawa in the book.
from the get-go. Like
I hate both these men.
but from the get-go it's like a very strange relationship and they're very weird men. So
Yeah.
in the movie I think they gender swapped them because I think it's easier for the audience to buy the fact that it's this mother who wants to save the child, and then she's going back to the lover, as you said, and then we are following her struggle. You know, there's so many horror movies where the protagonist is female.
Yeah.
And I think it's just easier for the audience to buy the struggle, you know, the struggle, and feel more for the struggle. And also, in my opinion, I think there's way more better actresses than actors. So I feel like probably they also thought, you know, she's gonna do a better job as the protagonist. But then for me, my issue with the film is that a lot of the stuff, like in the book, Ryuji is the one who investigates, and he's the one who learns, who's the one who finds out. And Asakawa and Reiko are the ones that are basically just following along, you know, they're just tagging along. And that's how it felt. And even when Yoichi, her son, watches the tape, he watches the video, it intensifies stuff, you know, like it's another layer. She has to protect her son, but I feel like it was Ryuji doing most of the stuff. And it really bothered me in the end how and of course, you know, we're like an hour away from the 7-day mark, you know, so she's gonna feel desperate.
Sure,
she's gonna feel desperate. She's gonna feel like that's it. She's gonna die. But especially that scene when she says, you know, I'm tired, and he goes up and he slaps her and he's like, but think of your son.
Exactly. No, I know.
You know, it's first give her the space. Second, like it's just strange that literally the second half of the film, it's just her tagging along. It's him he has the power, so he's the one who's finding most of the stuff, you know, like the big flashback, the big reveal of what happened to Sadako and what happened to her mom. It's because he touches the cousin in the beach, and she's just there.
Yeah, she's
you know,
just standing there.
She just happens to see it.
And then she's the one who figures out like, no, we have to go back. We have to go back to the resort because I got the call. But I don't know. I just felt like she took she started being the protagonist.
Yeah, I agree. She's super passive. That's the con. But see, that's the thing. Like, I don't want to say I like Ryuji because actually, can I just like say this? So, big trigger warning from this point on for the rest of the episode. Yeah. But the way that you're introduced to Ryuji is Asakawa in the book. Asakawa tells the reader that they met in high school when Ryuji confesses to him that he sexually assaulted someone. And
more. Yeah, 3
And he brags about it.
Yeah, like he's bragging to Asakawa. And Asakawa feels kind of weird about his relationship to him the whole time because he knows in his head, he's like, I know that he's a rapist. But again, he's the only person he can think of who wouldn't be afraid to die because, again, Ryuji's like a huge edgelord. The other thing is that Ryuji is not a psychic in the book. Ryuji is a professor, which...
Well, they're both professors.
Well, they're both professors, but Ryuji's like that's his thing. It's like the only reason why Ryuji is taking the forefront of research during that process, which actually he doesn't in the book because we're forgetting about Yoshino, who does all of Sadako's history.
There's a lot of people that are involved that I totally forgot.
Which all of that is given to Ryuji because he's kind of OP when he has psychic powers.
Yeah, it does help quite a bit in this case.
Whereas in the book, it's like Ryuji has a connection to the other professor who knows paranormal psychology. And then through like exploring his archives in his library, they're able to, you know, piece together a lot more of the context. Whereas in the movie, automatically Asakawa becomes a lot more dependent on Ryuji because it's like, he's got psychic powers. And Asakawa is just a reporter, which Asakawa is also just a reporter in the movie. I mean, in the book.
She has like a lot of stakes in both. You would think that would be a good motivator. Like, obviously, her son seeing the tape, and then also her niece, like, died because of it. Like, you think she would be more, like, involved with it, the different stages of the investigation? I don't know.
But it is interesting also how in the book, Asakawa starts investigating only after he sees that he finds out that his niece was one of the 4 teenagers that died.
Right.
But in the movie, the first scene with Reiko, she's already interviewing people about the tape.
Yes,
so they already know about the tape. She's already doing an investigation, a report on it, and then Tomoko dies. She's like, oh, okay, then this is part of my report, and you know, and then it gets personal.
Yeah.
But I just felt like it was a little bit weird.
It is weird. It's a little too normal already. It's
Yeah.
already in her normal world for this to be
Right.
like a thing.
Yeah, it's
I
a
will
thing that
say-
local teens actually know about. While in the book, it's like no one's heard of it except for this small group, and then of course Asakawa and Ruhi.
Right.
But yeah,
And in the book, like Asakawa, Tomoko dies, but also when he's taking a taxi and the taxi driver's telling him all about this person who died in the same way, and then he's like, "That's weird. That happened to my niece." I will say, using my big brain right now, it's not lost on me. Koji, what's the name of the author?
Koji. Suzuki.
It's not lost on me, Koji, that we meet Asakawa. We meet him coming off of a deadline. And wait, where was I going with that? We meet him. He's like worked super hard. He's just come off of a deadline, and then the rest of the time we know him, he's working towards his next deadline. Like the whole deadline thing comes up so much in the book, where they're like, "You're on deadline. You're on deadline," and also he's a
that's
reporter on deadline. You know,
yeah, it's like speaking on the culture. You're always on a deadline.
It's all about
in
media.
this society. We're always on a deadline.
so true.
Going back to Raiko's niece, Tomoko, in the film, she is actually with her friend when she dies, while in the book, she is by herself.
That's how early we are into the book. With
At the very beginning, dude.
on page 1.
But it's such a cool dynamic in the. I really love that the opening of the film when they're just talking and
You have
know,
to introduce the tape somehow.
Yeah, you have to introduce the tape, and they're just talking as friends, and you do feel for that sense of friendship and trust that they have, and then the fear, and then how she dies. I really love how when someone dies in the film, how it goes, kind of like thermal or like black and white, and it just freezes frame. It just there's a freeze frame. It's very, I think it's very creative and it's very scary. But I really love both openings in the films.
Yeah.
In the films, that dynamic that Tomoko has with her friend, and then how it they're just joking, and then
Then it becomes
but I
serious.
did watch it. But I did
Yeah.
watch it.
I mean, it definitely makes sense for a visual medium. Like, you need them to literally be saying out loud what happened with this tape and stuff. And yeah, with the book, it's like, well, we're in her head, so we know what's going on. Raiko learns about the tape from students she's interviewing, while Asakawa learns about it. Like, he specifically learns about the tape at the cabin. Like, he doesn't know what he's specifically looking for until he gets there and he reads a little notebook that the kids left behind.
Well, also, like, just to point this out before we get to the cabin, how he finds the cabin in the book is completely different than the movie. And I have to say, I prefer the movie.
It's much
It's
more
so much
straightforward.
easier.
It's so much easier to
Why would
comprehend.
he not do that in the book?
Yeah. When snooping through Tomoko's room, he comes across this like membership card for this resort. That leads him to going to the resort.
And it's not in Tomoko's name. It's somebody else's name. So he's like, okay, she must have gotten her classmate's
But it's
membership
so
card.
complicated.
It's
like,
so- I would
okay, so
never
this
think
is membership. We're gonna call this person to see if that belongs to
To someone they know.
someone they
Yeah.
know, and then maybe they gave the membership to Tomoko.
Right. Which winds up
And-
being correct. But like still, I would never even, I'd be like, oh, she picked this up on the ground. I would never think
and
that.
that's why none of us are journalists, because we wouldn't
That's
think
fair.
that hard.
Yeah,
That's
because
true.
in the film, Reiko goes to Tomoko's room and she finds her photos.
Her photos.
Her
A
photos.
receipt, yeah, for the Photoshop.
And
Not
she sees
not
that,
Adobe Photoshop, but the Photoshop.
The photo
And-
store.
The photo
yeah,
store,
and she finds
yeah.
she sees that all the teenagers that died were together at that place.
And they
so
have
they're like,
distorted faces.
let's
Ooh,
go.
creepy,
Yeah, the
creepy
distorted
faces.
faces.
Yeah. So yeah, as Sam mentioned, Asakawa also learns about Ayawata, who died on his motorcycle. He learns about this from a taxi driver he just happens to meet.
Oh, this is what I meant to say. Sorry. This is okay. Remember when I was like, what was I saying? And I completely derailed. Okay, this is what I meant to say. Asakawa spends his career chasing story on deadline, and then he spends the book chasing the story of Sadako on deadline. That's what I meant to say. He's that like the story part of it.
Okay.
That's the thought.
Okay.
That was my big brain thought. That was half of it. This is the second half. Anyway, it's important because then he sees the motorcyclist.
Yes.
And he finds out about this. And
Right.
It's like,
Oh yeah, because he was
Yeah.
like, I'm just gonna take taxi. I'm not taking the train. today."
Exactly. It's like if
Got
he
it.
hadn't done that, then he would have never made the connect.
So yeah, they learn about the tape through different ways. He, when Asakawa goes to the cabin, he reads this notebook that the kids left behind, and they like kind of hint about like don't, or we dare you to watch this, blah, blah, blah. And so then he's like, let me go check the VHS tapes that were at the front desk. And then he comes across the videotape, and that's how he discovers it. So our main characters have kids, but their genders are also swapped, interestingly enough.
Yoko and Yoshi. And
Yes.
Yoko's mentioned in the beginning of the Japanese movie.
What?
Yoko's the name of one of the friends that they talk about.
Oh, interesting. I
Lore
wonder if
drop.
that was purposeful.
I'm sure it was meant to be a reference. And so,
okay.
but at the same time, like, why wouldn't they just name the kid Yoko?
I don't know. I mean, they also mention Iwata, who died on the motorcycle too. Like
Yeah.
little tiny like lore drops. But yeah, Asakawa has a baby daughter named Yoko. He also has a
And
wife.
she's like a baby.
Yeah, like
Like Yoshi's old
Months
enough.
old, right?
Yeah.
Not even, yeah.
Yoko's like can't eat
well,
by itself.
yeah, by itself. I'm like,
Yeah,
babies eat.
because the wife
You
is
have to
always
feed a baby.
because the wife is always carrying her.
Right.
Yes.
Like she always
Whereas
has.
Yoshi
Yeah.
is like Yoshi's obviously walking around and talking and
Yeah,
stuff.
Yoshi's like
wearing
what,
micro
like
shorts?
6 years, 5 years.
Yeah.
Wearing knee-high socks.
those socks were
He's so cute.
crazy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
The little tiny shorts and
Like,
the
I
big
should buy
huge
these
socks.
clothes. It's crazy.
But yeah, Yoshi has psychic abilities, and he has like a connection with his cousin who's dead, and he knows that his cousin saw the tape.
Can we talk about the tape?
Oh yes. Wait, are we there yet?
Because we already passed the scene when
that's
she
true. We
watches.
did. Yeah, we should talk about the tape.
Oh yeah, I was
Book or movie tape?
Like, I'm just like that's where the book loses again, in my opinion.
Really, I so
Like,
disagree.
Yeah,
I disagree.
Who's
too.
gonna watch 20 minutes of it?
I mean, it was no
Like 2 hours. No,
yeah, it was like
how
an
long is it?
hour and a
It's 20
half.
minutes.
It was an hour and a half in the book, right? It was
Oh,
long.
I don't know about that.
I think that's 120 seconds, right? No, 120
Oh.
minutes.
I thought it
don't-
was long.
I don't remember. I don't know.
No, let's look that up. But anyways, like whatever the runtime of the tape is in the book, it's way more. Like I don't feel like someone would watch that much.
Okay, agree.
The teens definitely. I don't see them sitting down
Like
and like wanting to watch
because the
that.
movies are in the American version it's a minute and a half, and in the Japanese version it's a minute. And like people would watch a minute of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But let's look. I
Also,
in
like-
my notes I put that it's 20 minutes.
And like
I don't know if I misread or if I don't know if it's seconds or whatever.
I
but
have no memory.
But I remember thinking like it's too much. Like no one would watch it.
Yeah.
well, okay,
Like,
in the
especially when-
internal logic of the ring, like, do you have to watch the entire tape?
Which
I think
I don't
Because
in the movies, in the American movies, they do go for it,
Yeah.
and you have to watch the whole thing. But it's a minute and a half.
Right,
But 20
but-
minutes, like do you have to be like this 20 minutes?
But isn't part of it is
Like-
that you're like kind of psychically linked to Sadako? So like, she makes you feel
She
the
makes you
wetness
feel
in your
things,
hand.
yeah.
She makes you feel the hatred toward the man in the video.
Uh-huh.
So like also
So you're like hypnotized as you watch it.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a good idea. I think that's a
like
good view of it. I think that makes sense.
it's just too much. And
okay.
also
In defense of the book one of my favorite things in the book is how they figure out that it's a psychic tape and that it's a woman who made the psychic
The
tape.
blinks?
The blinks.
Hmm.
I thought
That's
and
not
Blink is
in
cool.
either
I
of these
wish
versions.
if that was in the movie one, I'd be with you. But I think that is so cool,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just not in either of the movie adaptations.
Yeah, Ruhi discovers that there's like just shots of black when he's like going through the tape, and he concludes that it is blinks.
You keep saying Ruhi, is that right?
I thought it was. I didn't think the R was. Like I didn't know if you said the R. I thought it was like Yuhi.
The audiobook guy said Ryuji, but I really
Ryuji?
that's
There
what
was
he
Ryuji.
said. But
Okay.
I don't know because I don't speak Japanese.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Drop in the
Ryuji
comments how you
sounds better than
pronounce
what I'm
Ryuji.
trying to say.
Let's see. Wait, I am interested. Like, how long is the ring?
It makes a big
tape
difference how long the
in
video is.
the book? And I feel like the images in the novel one, I just don't feel it's the mysterious videotape is approximately 20 minutes long.
20 minutes. Okay.
I got that so wrong then.
No, and it's just
I
for
thought it was
me.
an hour and 20.
It's just like a lot. Like an hour 20 makes it even worse. Like
That's that would suck.
watch
That
it.
would
Watch
so
that.
suck. But it seems like a long
Simply would turn it
experience
off.
for
and especially
her.
how it's described. Like there's a lot of black screen, so they're not looking like it's like.
It's like
there's a lot of black screen, and then there's like random sounds, distorted sounds, and like a shot of a newborn baby, and then a shot of an injured man,
Yeah.
and then the word Sada, and then like I just feel like
I do-
If it's something that's really hypnotic and once you press, you have to watch all the way through. Okay, I get it, but I just don't feel like it's portrayed like that. Not even in the films or in the book, where it's kind of like this. Like once you press play, her powers take over, and you have to watch through the end.
Yeah.
For me, just not believable. And even in 1991, when it was written, like for sure now, it's not believable.
People would be on their phones.
And like like if you're watching
They
and
totally
then you,
missed the ending.
yeah, like if you're watching and then you pull out your phone, is that gone? Like, do you have to watch the whole
Oh,
thing?
yeah, how does it work?
In
Right.
The Ring 2, the American movie, the Hideo Nakata, they do say that you have to watch the whole thing.
Okay.
So there's a girl that begins watching it, and then she covers her eyes,
and she's okay.
and then she's okay. Like you have to watch the whole thing, but that's in the American version, and it's a 1.5 minute thing.
Right. Well, because it's like if you don't see the message that you're gonna die, like, are you gonna die?
Exactly. So
That's not really fair.
so I don't. Yeah, and that's where the book tape kind of loses me. I feel like it's too long, and I do like kind of like the ambiguity of the images.
Yeah.
And some of them are explained, if not all of them.
think all of them are
but there's way less.
Yeah.
Like in the other versions, they all have like a direct symbolism, or they do, or those visions appear to the characters later.
The baby isn't explained though, is it?
I don't
baby-
think they did.
I mean,
that was
but-
confusing.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. The newborn baby, because it could be Sadako.
But
and
how
it
would
could
Sadako
be,
It has
see
to,
herself.
exactly.
Right, because they
she has
have-
to have seen it.
Doesn't she have a baby, little brother that dies?
Oh, I don't
That
know.
sounds familiar.
I think she does. They mentioned something about the mother giving birth to a boy that died, and then they kind of blame Sadako.
I kind of
think.
feel like that's
It's
right.
Yeah, but I just don't remember if she had a miscarriage or if the baby actually was born.
I think that would have had to actually been born for her to physically see it.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Yeah, and I feel like, I also don't like the ending of, kind of like the warning of now you're gonna die.
Yeah. it
Like
literally
those who have
explains-
watched the tape, and then that random ad comes on. Like
Well,
there's like
because
an
it was
ad
like
that
recorded over. They recorded over the how to like
Mm-hmm.
protect yourself. Which like why would Sadako include a way to
Right.
save your? Oh, I guess she wanted you to make more copies and spread the message. So, but how
Yeah.
would she? I don't know. I don't know how our powers work.
Yeah, and that's where it gets weird for me in the book. It's just not very believable, and as you said, the rules are a little bit muddled,
I
muddy
agree.
there, because I feel like the movie versions of the tapes are so interesting. They're not necessarily scary, but they are very interesting, and they are very abstract and mysterious. And I feel like the unrelated images of the novel tape, they're just nothing to hook the viewer.
Also, the commercial.
The commercial, I think, is stupid. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
In terms of like which version of the tape we prefer, I think I got to go back to the American version on that. I think I liked the slightly longer length, and everything has a purpose. Every image basically means something. And for me, I'm like, that is the tape. Like when I think of the tape, I think of the American version.
That's crazy. I thought it was overkill.
Really?
Yeah.
I love it.
I thought it was just like, okay, there's a centipede. Are you kidding me?
That's
a
true. The
very, very big
centipede-
centipede.
It's a huge centipede in an empty room in a psych ward.
Rachel sees
tree's
the
on fire.
centipede, and it's like, okay, that's the connection to the centipede.
But I
was
love that.
weird.
I love how almost every image in the tape, in the American version, she either has a vision of that, she comes across something that resembles the tape, or something happens to her. Like, and I do like that, because those are the clues. And as you said, now, like, those are clues that they're there for people to. She wants people to solve how to survive, because then how to survive, you have to make a tape.
But this
a
is an
copy.
interesting thing. Like, so in theory, they don't have to find out anything about Sadako in order to make a copy of the tape and share it. Mm-hmm. So, like, the whole plot of both of all three of these stories technically doesn't need to happen if they just made a copy and shared it.
I think that
Or if they
her
just never
goal-
showed it to, or if they just never showed it to Ryuji, that also would.
I don't think Sadako's goal was for them to go on this long journey to
Right, like
find
they
her
don't
remains.
need to find anything out about her in
No.
order
Right.
to do what they need to do. But
It's just like it just represents her rage about how she was treated. Like that's all the tape is, and then they kind of course they're gonna take it more steps because they want to figure out the end, like how to save themselves.
right.
Yeah, I don't think she was like go through all these hoops to figure things out for
Find
me.
You need a
rapist.
copy.
Yeah.
If she wanted that, she would have just had like an arrow pointing down to the well. I'm in here.
Literally, like I'm right here. No,
Yeah,
but like actually, like
yeah.
that's how easy it could have been.
Yeah,
When
go
I found
down.
out they went back to the cabin, I was like, "Are you kidding
I would have
me?"
been so pissed. I'm like, I was right there.
But the going back to the cabin, I think that the book wins. I think it's way more interesting to have that sanatorium
I
thing
100%
than just the
agree.
I got the phone call in the cabin.
didn't
We
get
have to
that
go
at
back.
all.
Yeah, I didn't
okay,
like
so that's the discovery, like
didn't
because
like
you
that.
had the phone call there.
The sanatorium
She's
thing
there.
is the sanatorium thing and the doctor. Everything
Insane.
about that is so to me horrifying.
Yeah,
like
it's
it's
much more
just
interesting.
it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not there yet at all. But we'll talk more about that when we get there.
Going back to the imagery in the tape, there is no volcano in the film. They don't actually show the volcano like they do in the book.
Wait, so how does the mom die?
She does jump. They do mention she jumps in the volcano.
Oh, but they just don't go to the
The
volcano.
volcano is not in the.
Not really in the movie at all. Instead, in the film, they discover a phrase from the tape that leads them to Oshima Island, where the volcano is at, but it's not really that relevant. Like it is, like in the book, they have this whole thing where they're trying to figure out
like
which
track
volcano.
when eruptions. Yeah,
Yeah.
when this person would have been alive.
Exactly.
For when which eruptions would have gone. Yeah.
Also, in the film, we actually see Raiko's parents, or at least her dad,
Yeah.
which I think that was a good addition, is actually physically seeing them. Instead, in the book, it's like Asakawa's wife's parents, and she's just staying with them for a while. So it was kind of nice seeing, like, again, adding a little bit more spookiness to it, because it's like, well, we already know this guy a little bit. How his life ends is going to be a bummer for sure. So we get a bit of Sadako's mom in the film. Her name is Shizuki. She was considered a sensation for predicting things accurately. She was taken around Tokyo to show off her powers, all that fun stuff. However, people turned against her for not proving her abilities on the spot, which led her to eventually commit suicide. In the film, Ryuji reaches out to a correspondent with the news station and learns about Shizuki and how she was experimented on. While in the book, both he and Asakawa physically go to talk to this correspondent on the island. In the film, Sadako is seen killing a man using her psychic abilities at her mom's presentation. This is
Specifically a reporter, by the way.
Oh, yeah. She does not like those reporters. She's at her mom's presentation. We see this in a flashback. She was then taken away by her mom's doctor, and the two had not been seen in years. Meanwhile, in the book, Sadako is a young woman, and she joins a theater group for a while before...
She's 18. She's
Yeah.
like fully an adult woman.
Yeah, we have this whole thing in the book where they're investigating like the theater troupe and like trying to figure out if anybody knows anything about Sadako.
Also, at the theater troupe is where we learn that she is not the girl with the hair over her face that you probably know her to be, but she's actually like really pretty.
Yeah, everybody thinks she's beautiful.
Everyone's like, oh my gosh, she's
It's
like
slightly
exceptionally
weird.
gorgeous. Yeah.
It's like slightly off-putting.
The only reason we know what she looks like is because they have a photo of her.
Yeah, headshot.
Yeah.
That's true, yeah.
Which is a key difference because she's coming out of a TV.
Yeah, the TV stuff does not happen in the book. Her coming out of the
So
TV, which
imagine
is
my
such
surprise.
iconic imagery.
I told Luis about this already, but like I haven't seen any of this. And I like kind of knew that she would do that. Kind of like I'd seen videos of it, sort of, but
Yeah,
I
of
didn't know if
course,
that was
yeah.
like a real thing in the movie or like what fans like. I just didn't know.
Yeah.
Imagine my surprise. I looked like Ryuji in that moment. I was gone.
For me, it was the opposite. Like I
You were
I was waiting
that.
for that scene, and that scene never happened.
I agree.
And yeah, another example of how it works, and not Sadako doesn't come out of the TV in the book, and that doesn't mean it's bad. No, like it works. The book works very well without her coming out of the TV. You know, it was a different story, and she was not really a ghost. But in the movie, you know, you need a visual representation of that, you know, and that ghost and that antagonist. In which in the book Sadako is not really the antagonist.
No, exactly.
When she does, you know, come and take her victims, she's like, they feel her as like a presence behind you. Like that's kind of how she manifests. And I think they kind of showed that a bit in this film, particularly with the niece. She like kind of looks over her shoulder, like she feels like something's there, but that's kind of just how Sadako is portrayed in the book. As we said, Sadako was in a theater group for like, I think 6 months or a year or something. And then she goes to spend time with her father in a sanatorium. And, you know, how she ends up in the well is very different.
She doesn't have a horrible relationship with her father in the way she does in the movie.
No.
She's with her father because she likes her dad.
Yeah, she's just visiting
She's
him
visiting her
in the
father.
sanatorium.
Whereas in the movie, she's like abused. Wait, yeah. I mean,
That's the thing. So in the book, she has a father. He goes crazy. He's in a sanatorium. In the film, Sadako's dad is Dr.
he's
Ikuma.
the doctor. Yeah.
Yeah, who had an affair with Shizuku. And this in the book, the sanatorium was where the cabins in the resort were later built upon.
Right.
And
So it makes sense to go back there, and why she would be there is
Yeah.
because that's where.
Yeah. In the
Where it all began.
film, it
where-
doesn't really
That's
make
where it
sense.
happened.
The film, I was like, what's with this location? Like, how would they end up here? I don't know. I guess he just took her away to this particular spot. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
In the book, she is killed and also assaulted by a doctor named Dr.
Nagao.
Hotaro.
What?
Dr. Jotaro.
What?
What did you
Nagao?
say?
Isn't that his name? It's Ngao.
Ngao?
In Wikipedia, it said Jotaro.
I think they refer to him by the last name, which is Jotaro, Dr. Jotaro. Maybe his first name
I
is
might be
is
calling
Ngao.
him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's definitely Nagao in the book. Fact check.
Yeah,
Fact check.
double check that. I just
I
looked up.
also, I wrote him down as Jotaro.
Okay.
What? Okay.
So yeah, in the
Who ends
book,
up being the man that shows up in the tape, right?
yes, he is the angry man. She was killed on the premises by Dr. Jotaro.
Oh, Nagao is his first name, I think. Yeah.
So we were both right.
Jotaro.
We were all right.
Yeah.
And this doctor, he worked there at the sanatorium. He assaults her, throws her in the well. She kind of actually makes him kill her.
Wait. Also,
Yeah.
he's the last carrier of smallpox in the state of Japan. In the state.
That
in the
was
country of Japan.
so confusing for a while. I was like, what's with this whole small
Oh my gosh, I love it. I
thing.
love
it
love
also.
it.
No, it makes a lot of
Okay.
sense for
Makes
what the
so
book
much
is.
sense.
Yeah, I love it.
But also he. Okay.
Whoa.
Sorry.
You know, so those were the sounds that I imagined in the book that the tape had. You know, so like,
Don't stop.
you know, like for 20 minutes. And then someone would watch.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I forgot my.
The smallpox
Yes.
Smallpox.
in the
He
state of
has-
Japan.
I think it's so clown.
And it kind of adds to this idea that like this tape is a virus because she
Yeah.
contracted a virus,
This
right?
is what I was gonna say. So I dislike the she wanted to die theory.
I mean, yeah, I guess we can't take his word at face value because
I
he is
think
the one.
male opinion.
Yeah.
what I
Asakawa
think.
and
Yeah. She wanted me to do it.
Yeah, I was
So I did.
yeah,
talking about.
Yeah, I was
she
just-
wanted
Why
me to
would
do
she
it.
want that?
Yeah.
Like, she's visiting her dad. She's fine.
Yeah, I agree.
She has psychic powers. She's more than fine.
Yeah.
She did not want to be assaulted and die.
I-
IMO.
I feel like it was more about maybe the shame of what happened was like, okay, now kill me.
Yeah, that's
more
how
than
I took
more,
it.
Okay,
more than
that-
I want to be assaulted. It's like
Right.
I've already
Yeah,
been
that's
assaulted.
what
Now
I'm-
kill me.
Therefore,
Which
meant,
is still
yeah.
a little bit.
but like, why would he then? Why that way?
To-
If I was Sadako, I would have him get a gun.
to clarify some things,
Episode.
Asakawa and Ryuhi talk to this doctor, and the doctor just spills all this information out. He admits to this. But he's like, but I was just in a a crazy mindset. Like it wasn't really me, guys.
Wait, did we explain it?
And then he tells them that Sadako was intersex, which
Right.
is not in either of these films. They don't talk about that at all. And yeah, like you said, the shame of somebody finding out about this, because she's always been portrayed as this like beautiful woman by all these people around her, and then having somebody find this about her, I don't know, maybe that led her to not want to be around anymore.
I just pro Sadako. I think no.
Well, yeah, I don't want to take everything this guy
murder.
says at face value.
I think Asakawa sucks, and I think he makes assumptions about what Sadako wanted to justify whatever. I don't know. Sadako,
I
I
think
see you, girl.
yeah.
I don't think.
But this is the biggest change
Yeah.
from the book and the movies, and I think I was
Definitely.
very, very surprised at when I read it. I closed the book like, okay, I have to process this, because there's something that I never thought it was gonna go, and I didn't understand it at first. Like, okay, so what's the point? Especially because Asakawa and Ryuji, they are a lot like, but so Sadako's a man, Sadako's a woman.
Yeah.
What is she like? But she has this, like. So
Very complex.
Yeah, it's very
situation
complex,
for people, especially in the 90s.
Yeah, and I didn't understand really like what was the point, or what was the idea of Suzuki to write that in. I completely understand why they removed it from the movies, because it's too complex. Even now, like even now,
Yeah,
like
most
you see
people don't
with-
even know what that is.
Yeah, no, most people don't know what it is. Most people just go full like bigots, and when they start
XXXY only.
yeah, and we just saw it last year with Conclave and with
Conclave.
the boxer at the
Oh, right,
Olympics.
yeah.
Right, maybe I say Conclave.
like it's still complex, and it's still a very let's say controversial topic now. So I can't imagine how it was in 1991. And I felt like the portrayal of it was a little bit strange, but I think it makes a lot of sense for what they wanted to do with Sadako, the idea of her being intersex, the idea of her being more than one thing, the idea of her being misunderstood, and like, her not being defined. Because I was just really thinking, like, why did he write that in? And then I also thought about, her whole thing, Sadako's whole thing is about reproduction. And most intersex people can't reproduce. So maybe her way of reproducing is through the tape.
That's
so
interesting.
Well, yeah, I mean,
that's very interesting.
What
And
Ryuji
also,
is talking about at that, but what he's talking about at the end when he's like, how could Sadako have had a kid? And then he's like, oh, she has a ton of kids. And like,
Yeah.
there's like some lines,
Yeah.
something like that right before Ryuji dies, that he realizes like that this is her.
Oh, he
having
literally
kids.
writes reproduction over and over again, right?
I think so.
Like
Yeah,
that's in his notebook.
it's
or whatever?
I think, reproduction, from the book of epidemics,
And that's how Asakawa knows, like, oh, I need to make a copy of the tape.
and and this
Wow,
duality
that's
that
interesting.
Sadako has, male and female, life and death, human, supernatural, science, myth.
Wow.
There's a lot of very interesting stuff that comes in with her being intersex.
Yeah.
And it also showcases really the violence against what people don't understand, especially with women. And, her psychic abilities made her different, and also her being intersex made her different.
It's true.
And, and the first thing that men do when they don't understand it, let's kill. Let's abuse, let's respond with violence. And I think that's when really the tragedy of Sadako comes in the book. And I feel like that's very, very sad and very powerful. Once I kind of dug into it, I really liked it, because when I read it, I was like, I don't understand it. Like, why does this have to be? Like, is this just this male author putting this in, and she's intersex, she's like, man.
Yeah, I was gonna get into that.
Because and they mention it a lot. She's a man. I'm like, what? Then I thought 1990s, a male writing it.
Yeah, we get this from two male characters' perspectives too.
Exactly. But then I ended up liking it, and I think it just adds the complexities to Sadako as a character.
I like this interpretation. It's like these two male characters wanting such a black and white, clear cut answer, and with Sadako, you're not gonna get that. And I think that's really interesting, and why I really like her in the book. It's interesting because, she has this like front, how people first perceive her, and then once they get to know her, they find her off-putting. Like, I think that scene where at the theater and she's just watching like a static TV and they don't know what to make of this. It's like she is a person that people don't know what to make of. And that's very interesting.
And, you know, to build on this whole thing about like how the intersex quality is completely not there in general, I don't want to say that sexual assault is a theme in this book, but like it kind of is, because we start it with Ryuji, where like that's the first time it comes up, and then it comes up again with the head of the theater troupe and how he tries to take Sadako and then comes back and dies of a heart attack, and then it comes up again with Sadako and the doctor, and then it comes up again with May explaining actually Ryuji didn't rape anybody, or at least that's what
She
May
thinks he
is
like
told.
died a virgin.
She thinks he died a virgin, and it's like it's this recurring theme. Like I can't think of a book where that has like a beat so often, and like I don't know what to make of it, but it can't be coincidence that the two people that are investigating have like assault like affiliations, and Sadako's story, you know.
What's fascinating is Asakawa like literally invites Ryuhi into his home with his wife and daughter, who his wife has said, I don't feel comfortable around this guy. Don't bring him into our house. And what is he? He just totally ignores her. And yeah, another example of why Asakawa sucks.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, my wife doesn't like him. I'm going to spend my next 7 days with him.
My final 7 days of my life, I want to spend with this guy.
Literally.
Yeah. Who I know is a rapist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he told me.
And he's going to be hanging in my house.
With my baby.
And literally, Ryuji's like, oh, I wasn't going to do anything to them. I'm like,
I
you're
should hope
crazy,
not.
bro. You're crazy. Oh, these guys.
I don't know.
Anyway, Ryuko and Ryuji figure out where the well is pretty much immediately when they get back to the cabin. I don't know how they just figured that out, but they did. While in the book, Asakawa and Ryuji take a good chunk of their day, like trying to like figure out where this well is. And it isn't Ryuji kind of figures out like the wood and like it's not stable or whatever.
Asakawa's getting like delirious because
He's
like
losing
his
his
7
mind.
days are about to be up.
Yeah, he's not thinking clearly.
Yeah. He's like digging a hole.
Yeah. Again, like of course, in a movie, you have to make things faster. It makes sense while you just cut all that bit out. But I just like, yeah, the book is more realistic on like, we have a vague idea that something that she might be here, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's like figure this out.
It's in this resort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where
it's a giant resort. Yeah.
Where could it possibly be? Yeah.
Yeah.
Some iconic imagery here. We've talked about Sadako crawling out of the TV to kill Ryuji. That is not a thing in the book.
No.
In the book, Sadako's psychic powers combined with the smallpox virus that she got from Dr. Jotaro created a paranormal virus, and it wanted to propagate through tape copies.
Which is funny, of course, because Asakawa begins the story by being like, well, maybe it's a virus. Maybe the kid's got some sort of virus.
He was onto something there.
He was right.
Yeah, he was correct. Yeah, Asakawa and Reiko, they both discover that they have to make copies of the tape and show someone else to survive.
They find this out because Asakawa's like, when Ryuji dies, he's like, what did I do that Ryuji didn't? Oh, I made a copy and I showed Ryuji.
Yeah.
But I like how they give more time to it in the book, where he has to find the book and
like
about
sifting through
epidemics. He
his
sifts through it,
house.
and then he goes, okay, reproduction, copies. While in the movie, Reiko has a vision of Ryuji literally pointing at the
The
bag.
towel guy, right?
Towel guy.
Like at
Towel
the
man.
the bag, and
Yeah.
then she opens the bag and she's like, oh, copy, yeah. I have to make a copy.
She's like,
I made a
"Oh."
copy. So now Ryuji didn't make a copy. That's why he died. So now I have to make a copy for Yoshi.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really helped things speed along, the fact that Ryuji had psychic powers. I think that really helped them with this investigation quite a bit. Yeah. So in the film, Ryuko plans to show the tape to her father to save Yochi's life. Meanwhile, Asakawa plans to have his wife's parents watch the tape so that both his wife and Yoko can survive.
Yeah. I love the ending of the book. How it feels way more dangerous and bigger Like it feels very apocalyptic.
Like,
you know,
she
she's like,
realizes, like-
I'm really
Yeah.
starting the end of the world, the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Well, in the
Right.
book, she's driving, and of course, she has this sense of relief that okay, my kid is gonna survive, and now I am doing something wrong, but my kid needs to survive.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It feels like more like between them than just the world, and I feel that was very very nice from the book.
Yeah. I
because it's
agree,
true.
yeah.
She's gonna make one more copy, and then he's gonna make one more copy two more copies, right? And then I'm sure he doesn't want his wife's parents to die,
Yeah.
so they're gonna make another copy. He's gonna make them make another copy, so just now we have 4 more copies that they have to spread, and whatever, if they keep continuing like, oh, you have to make a copy, or until someone doesn't care about the person. So yeah, it is apocalyptic.
Which,
Yeah.
by the way, the fact that Asakawa doesn't use this as actual warfare is crazy. Why doesn't he take out the reporter he doesn't like? Why doesn't he take out his editor? He knows it can kill
How
them,
would
and
he get them
doesn't
to
do
watch it?
Just give it to him.
Another example of why he sucks. I'm gonna give the tape
To my
to
wife's
my
parents?
wife's parents.
Give it to someone you don't like.
Yeah.
Like, give it to someone. Oh my goodness. Give it to a politician.
Sam
Give it
has
to-
beef.
I just think we could have been strategizing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, give
He
it to
had, like-
Elon Musk. Give it.
Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, it's literally a
Death Note.
virus. I can't believe he didn't do that. I mean, I get it in the. Actually, I do kind
He
of get
needed
it.
he needed something quick. That was like his
In the
probably
book,
his
it was
first
like 5
decision.
hours until they were gonna die.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. But like me personally,
Oh yeah.
I would have known in advance.
Yeah, no, I mean,
You would have solved it days
I would
ago.
have fixed it.
Yeah.
even if you had like 5 hours, like you can think of someone that you don't like,
you don't like.
and just kind of find a way to just
Hey, you should watch this.
Yeah.
Hey, this tape's pretty sick.
You're gonna want to see this right now.
Do you have a VHS player?
You want to watch my indie film?
Yeah, literally. Well, that'll never get watched.
You're like, oh yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah, you want to watch my indie film? It's only 20 minutes. It's 20 minutes of nothing. You want to watch it?
It's like an experimental.
There's a line in the Japanese movie where he's like, it's in the American one where he's like very student filmy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Were there any other differences you guys could think of that we didn't talk about?
We talked about I mean, everything with the mom is just watered down. The whole thing with the statue's not in it. How she gets her psychic powers. How she gets her psychic powers is she goes into the ocean.
Oh right, yeah.
And she gets this like ancient statue that's been calling to her, and this matters because
That's how she gets her powers.
Yes, and also it's because the tape is calling to Asakawa, and then the well is calling to them. It's like this whole thing
The
about
water,
like like being called to by water.
Yeah.
And also that adds to, where did Sadako come from?
Right.
Because they also they hint that, we don't know who her father is, right?
Right.
So, who is her father?
Yeah.
Because they say that the doctor is the lover of the mother, but we don't know if Sadako's really her,
Yeah. She has an
his,
affair with
his
him.
daughter. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she came from this godlike entity.
Immaculate conception.
Yeah.
In theory.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Sadako is, say it with me,
Jesus.
Yeah, and no, it gets very interesting, and once like I watched both sequels and then I watched Sadako, it gets very muddy in where she came from, who was she, how old was she,
bet.
because that's also a difference in the movie. She's a kid. She's like what, like 10 years, 12 years.
Yeah.
In
Both this and the American
both films,
version.
yeah, in both films, and in the Japanese movie, in the book, she's 18. Like she's an adult now. But yeah, I mean, I think it's very interesting what the books did. I think every movie. I haven't read the books besides The Ring, but I feel like every movie had something very interesting going on.
Yeah.
Especially in the Spiral, it stops being about the curse and reproduction, more about resurrection, about rebirth. Like what she wants is to basically reincarnate, like to live again. That's what they do in the Spiral. So it has more like fantasy sci-fi elements.
She actually wants to be made alive, like actually physically be here.
Yeah, and that happens at the end of Spiral. She basically Sadako kills Mai and then takes over Mai's body. So at the end, Sadako is Mai, and she has powers to bring people back, and then also in Rings, the American one, the second American sequel, that's also the thing. Sadako wants to be reborn. I enjoyed watching all of the movies. I didn't like all of them, but there's a lot of interesting things going on. I really like the Ring Zero birthday, which is basically it's
Yeah.
about
That's based on a book too.
Yeah,
We could
it's-
always talk about that in the future.
it's based on the book, and it's basically the prequel of the book, because it's not the prequel of the film, because in the movie Sadako is 19,
Yeah.
and in the movie she's 12, so
Yeah, it's based on
basically-
Birthday Zero, I think that's the book that it's
Yeah.
called. It's like an anthology about like the
Yeah.
female characters.
it's basically Carrie, like the Ring doing Carrie. And it's very sad. It's basically about her 6 months at the acting troupe.
Oh.
And her having dreams, and her falling in love, and her,
damn.
being a woman, and then people being afraid of her, and at the end, literally, her acting teachers and acting schoolmates basically kill her. It gets crazy, because there's actually like two Sadakos, like evil Sadako and good Sadako. Like good Sadako can't escape evil Sadako. So basically the troop is afraid, so they kill the good Sadako, and then evil Sadako comes and kills all of them. And then the doctor kills evil Sadako, and that's literally how the movie ends. She gets killed. It's very sad.
And put in the
it's,
well?
it's very sad. And the actress that plays Sadako in that film is so good. Like it was a surprise, because they don't talk about, in the opening they talk about the tape, and then it goes back 30 years, and then we see all of this. But it was a surprise, because I didn't expect the movie to be that good and that sad, touching.
I'll have to
What
check
is,
it out.
sorry, say the title again.
The Ring Zero
The Ring Zero.
birthday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I also liked some stuff of the movie Sadako 2019. I think actually there's a scene in Sadako, the 2019 version, where she comes out of the TV, that I think it's very, very scary.
Ooh.
Also, like I really liked, and just the imagery of her coming out, and how she's faster, and there's like a very good shot, kind of like the famous shot from Alien 3, where the alien is like smelling Sigourney Weaver, like this close up. It's
Ooh.
basically that, but Sadako and another character. But yeah, it's nice. It's a nice movie. But really, my recommendation is watch Ring, the adaptation of the book. Read the book. No, you know what? This was I said in the beginning of the episode that only read the book if you like the film. But just talking about it, I think there's I have to give the book more credit. I have to give the book more credit, because
agree.
I think it is really. I don't think I will read it again, but it does do a lot of interesting things.
Yeah, gives a lot more detail. For sure.
Yeah, and it's a good experience to read it. But going back to what I was saying is watch the film, Ring, read the book, Ring, and watch the Ring Zero birthday. I think it's a very, very good movie.
Cool. All right. What do y'all prefer, the book or the film?
Ugh, this is rough.
And we're just keeping it to this film, not the American one yet.
I have to say, I think I liked the Japanese movie more than you both did. I know we're not comparing them, but this is getting ahead of next episode. I like the Japanese movie more than the American movie, which I think is a hot take in this.
Perhaps. I
room.
think so.
The thing about the book, I agree with you. I wouldn't read the book again. That's not because it's not good. That's not because it's just it's intense. Like it's
And there's a lot of other books out there to read.
wow. Okay. Not your turn.
Sorry.
I like media that makes me feel conflicted. Not always. Depends on the media. But in this particular case, like really chewing on the characterization of like really not liking Asakawa, getting to understand Sadako, like feeling really weird about Ryuji, but also the whole story depends on him. Like it's an interesting experience to read the book for sure. Like regardless of the movie, it's just a book that makes you feel weird. And I wouldn't necessarily say like not in a good way, but not in a bad way either. So I think that like I can't remember the last book I can really say that about. So for that, like I think you should read the book. I liked the Japanese movie better than the American movie. Though I liked the American movie, it's really neck and neck for me between the book and the Japanese movie. I think just because there's more nuance and more going on with Sadako in the book, I'm going to go with the book.
I agree. Yeah, I think the details with Sadako really interesting, and it just made like how the videotape works and all that, it just made a lot more sense to me. Her, you know, her ending and how tragic that is. I think they rushed through that in the film quite a bit, and I wish they would have just lingered on her character, her being just a weird theater girl. I just love that. I think that's such a...
Aren't we all just a weird theater girl?
Aren't we all? Yeah.
Stuck in a well.
Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, I think I don't care about Asakawa. I don't care about Ryuji. I think she is what drew me into this book quite a bit. Again, like, I think we all agree. I don't know if I would come back to this book, not because it's a bad book, but because there's just... I'm a busy girl. I got a lot of stuff to read. I'm a busy woman. But yeah, I do appreciate Sadako in this version a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, it is complicated, like, because I do like a lot of stuff from the book, but there's two things that make me choose the film. Three things, actually.
Oh, okay.
One, the movie itself, you know, the format, the medium. I just love, you know, the visual medium. I just love movies.
Yeah.
It looks great, and I think it really jump-started this subgenre of J-horror, not only in Japan, but also in the US, you know, internationally. Second, I just really don't care about Asakawa in the book and about Ryuji.
Yeah, he sucks.
I just don't like them. And I don't think Reiko and Ryuji are great characters in the movie either. But I think the actors do a very, very good job. And
Agreed.
I prefer watching them than reading them. Also, there was one more thing I was going to say. Oh, yeah. Of course. The main thing is the tape. I really can't buy that 20-minute tape.
Oh my God,
Like-
you are stuck on this.
Yeah, I just really can't buy it.
It is kind of the crux of the entire thing, though. Like, if that doesn't make sense,
I
then
mean,
the
I
rest
would
of the
watch
story-
a 20... Well, maybe not. I don't know.
No, I wouldn't. If I got a weird vibe,
Yeah, I
ouch.
mean,
cover my eyes.
if I got a weird vibe, yeah. But if I was investigating, I'd probably... You got to sit through
He
it.
doesn't even know that that's what the kids were. Whatever. Asakawa sucks.
Yeah.
List of men I don't like in horror. Asakawa.
Yeah, so, you know, I choose the book because of those. I choose the movie because of these three things. You know, one is a movie, the other one is a book. The main characters,
You balance each other
you know,
out.
the main characters and the actors, and the tape being a minute and a half. No,
Yeah,
a minute, and then being 20. You know, I think a minute. People watch a minute.
Yeah, it's more
People watch
realistic,
a
for
minute.
sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, very, very interesting watch, very interesting read. And again, like I do want to say it again, The Ring Zero Birthday, I think it's a movie that no one knows about. And I was very surprised. Watch it.
All right, y'all ready for this versus that?
Yeah, let's go.
I don't know if you know how this works.
You'll figure it out.
It's just like gut instinct. What do you prefer?
Okay.
Basically. Okay. Well, we already
I
kind of know
hope
this.
these are scary and weird. Are they?
Kind of.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
know.
Go ahead.
First off, Asakawa versus Reiko.
Reiko.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement on that.
Yeah.
Wait, we should do Screw to Marry Kill with Asakawa. We should do, when we do the American episode, we should do it with all three versions of everybody. But anyway.
I mean, I think, yeah.
Yeah,
I
Asakawa
think I know who I'm
sucks.
killing each and every time, but yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I just want
we'll know the
to
answer.
say I want to kill Asakawa.
Who's dying? Yeah.
we got that. We got that made pretty clear.
Yeah, and Ryuji too. Kill that guy too.
True. Well, he does die.
He dies, and I don't have to make that decision.
Yeah. Sadako did.
And he dies in all versions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sadako versus The Grudge.
I haven't seen it.
I've seen only the Sarah Michelle Gellar, the American version of The Grudge, and I really don't like the film. I do have to see, like, Ju-on is one of the movies that have been on my watch list for so long. I just haven't given it the time. I do want to see it in the big screen. So I'm waiting for the right moment. So I'm gonna go Sadako. But I feel like even when I watch The Grudge, I feel like I was still gonna prefer Sadako.
Sadako is so cool. Like you said, she's that girl.
Yeah, she's that girl.
So The Grudge is one of the few movies that actually terrified me as a kid.
Really?
So yeah, I think the Grudge, like her look, the pale white skin,
If she
black
don't know what-
hair,
Yeah.
the sound she makes is so much creepier to me. That's why I was like, Sadako
Yeah,
and Samara don't really scare me, but The Grudge definitely did. And also the fact that you literally can't like once The Grudge has her in her sights, like you're dead. Like there's nothing you can do.
Spoilers.
Sorry. We're never gonna cover The Grudge.
I was gonna say though,
But I'm gonna watch The Grudge.
this episode in particular.
But you've seen it.
But the Japanese.
Oh, I haven't seen the Japanese.
We've been
okay.
giving a lot of spoilers for movies unrelated. When we talk about Conclave, and we just completely revealed the ending of Conclave with no warning.
But you don't know
anyway.
who's intersex in that movie. You have to watch it.
That's okay. Watch Conclave. Let us know what you think in the comments. I haven't seen The Grudge, so I'm learning this live.
Yeah, I don't think I want to watch the Japanese version because the American version scared me, so I might skip out on that. But
The Ring versus The Grudge, which
they have
better.
the Ring versus the Grudge movie, right?
Yeah,
Or
it's Sadako
Sadako
versus-
versus whatever her name is in the
What's her
movie.
name? I don't
name
remember.
of the girl in The Grudge.
It's so funny, like how they did that crossover. I don't know if they actually gonna fight or it's just I don't know, like,
Kayako
I
Like-
need to see it.
like who kills more or literally like a fist
Do
fight.
they fist fight like
Yeah.
Freddy versus Jason?
This
Do
is what
they
I'm
like
talking
use their
about.
powers?
What's the name of the film?
Kayako Saiki.
Sadako versus Kayako.
Oh, okay. I
Kayako,
never knew her
yeah.
name. We kind of talked about this, but this is a fun little question.
Okay.
Who would you show the videotape to?
Okay, this is what I'm talking about. Wonder if I just named someone really specific and looked at the camera.
Like somebody that could watch this. but
This
then really-
viewer, yeah. Follower number 35.
Viewer number 12. We're talking about you.
I don't know.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous to say it. No?
Yeah, you're making us go on record saying people we hate.
It
Yeah.
doesn't. No,
Good.
it could. I'm not talking about
Slash
people you
deserve to
know
die.
in real life. I'm talking like celebrities or figureheads. Like, you don't have to spill the beans on somebody you hate IRL.
No. I wasn't gonna say like a name of this. I'm gonna say the name of this person
My
from
cousin,
Yucatan, right?
Professor so and so from Seaside.
Yeah, no, I was thinking of as like a celebrity or a famous person. I do have some
I know.
names. I just don't want to get into trouble or make this political,
Right, no, exactly.
Get blacklisted.
yeah, get deported.
Oh, man.
So you might know who I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
The creator of Labubu's.
Wow. Okay.
They started to outshine Munchichis. And I
Okay, the
don't
creator of
appreciate-
Monchichi.
How dare you? Actually, they're probably not around anymore. These have been
no.
around since the 1970s.
Here's the thing.
so-
You could show the tape to someone so they're protected, right?
What?
You know what I mean? So that way nobody else can show them the tape.
What do you mean?
Like if I show the tape, for example, to my sister, right? And I'm like, you need to show this to I explain the whole thing, then she's in the clear,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
True.
Yeah.
Not
So
as fun
maybe
of a thought experiment.
You should show
but
the tape to your loved ones.
No, but we can talk more about this topic when we talk about the American version because
Yeah.
there's a short film that happens between The Ring and The Ring 2 that kind of goes up.
Oh,
It's kind of
really?
this cult, this group of
Of the,
people
like,
that are
the-
called rings.
What?
That basically this is their game. Like, let's see how much we can. Let's watch the tape. And someone's gonna watch the tape knowing someone else is gonna watch after them.
Right, so they're
So
safe.
it's kind of like they're safe, but they are experimenting like how long can they go with the in the American
That's
version
in
there's a lot of
Rings?
hallucination. Yeah.
Oh.
So the short film's called Rings and it's kind of like in between The Ring and The Ring 2. American.
Okay, this is
So-
the short film, not not Rings, which came out
Yeah.
years
Yeah.
later. Okay,
Yeah.
it's kind of confusing.
They just touch on it a little bit in Rings, the film, the feature film. But I thought that was a very, very interesting thing. It's
Yeah.
literally this group saying, I'm going to watch the tape and see how long I can go to my deadline.
Yeah.
And, experiencing these hallucinations and scary things, getting burned and, like their world changing because they've seen the tape and they're cursed. But knowing there's someone after that's going to save them.
You're onto something.
Yeah, maybe show it to the people you love most. And that's the real tape at the end
Yeah,
of the
just
day.
for the experience of watching this 20-minute thing.
It's 20 minutes.
Or a
It's a
minute.
good bonding experience. Yeah.
Exactly.
Let's all
Just watch this
tape
black
together.
screen.
Yeah. Nothing weird about it.
Alrighty. So join us next episode. We're going to be looking at the American remake of The Ring. Luis, is there anything you'd like to shout out? Any projects or any places people can follow you at?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram at Luis underscore Quijano with an H at the end. Quijano being Quijanoh. And or also my production company's Instagram, Balchev Films at BALCHE Films, which is also the website. You can check out there my shorts, the water and the stuff that I'm working on. Basically most of my work and most of the stuff that we've done. Commercials, music videos, short films, documentaries. You can watch most of that there, and also on Instagram for updates on all my current productions, which is, we have very exciting things coming out soon.
Yay! Awesome. Thank you guys for listening. Follow us on at Dreadful Digest Pod on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Okay, bye.
Bye.